Welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today, guys, I have something odd. I have 1995 Dimension 3 D3 Topps cards. So what are these cards? Well, for one thing, they're Topps answer to Sportsflics, if you're going to get down to it. And they spent a lot of money on this design. If you read about this set, you'll hear they advertised it. I think they released it right around the All-Star game. This was supposed to have been sort of like their next level technology in 1995. Unfortunately, we knew what Sportsflics were. This was kind of a watered down version of Sportsflics. You can see they even stuck a card around the front to kind of get people to buy it. The other thing too is there was not very many inserts in this product. I think the D3 zone cards are the only real insert in here. And the thing about it is this was pretty expensive. I think back in the day, this was came out at, maybe like $4 to $5 a pack is what they wanted for it. And so it was super expensive. It was a technology we've already kind of seen before, and then, it did have a lot of inserts and not a lot of how fun factor built into it. So it kind of tanked, and they never made, they were supposed to make a basketball and a football version of this. They never did. Those sets were scrapped because of the cost and collector, a cold shoulder for it. And I believe Pinnacle came out with a set called UC3 the same exact year that was much cheaper. That had cooler inserts, so they kind of even got outclassed by Pinnacle at the time, which was par for the course. Unfortunately, Topps at the time, in this time period in the 90s, was constantly getting beat by Upper Deck and Pinnacle and Score on design on a lot of fronts. Game use cards, autograph cards. Topps had the refractors. That was what they were doing well, and they had a few other things. But Topps never was, in my opinion, the leader of technological innovation outside of refractor technology. That's really where they made their mark. A lot of the stuff they tried didn't work, but there was some cool stuff like the 99 Topps Stars and Steel, the Dome Gold, the Hollow Gold. So those things were cool. But it's just, they were so hit and miss. When they tried something like this, they completely kind of blew it up. But let's open a box of it and see what, why it was so panned at the time. Does it deserve more of a place in history than it kind of has? Or was it really something that was forgettable? So I've never opened this product, and I didn't really know it existed until, when I'm working on a list and a checklist of every wax box made in the 90s. And so when I'm making the checklist, I come across products like this I've never heard of before. And then when I went to look to see what the box prices are, just curious, I think this is like $30, like $30 or $35. Like, it's not an expensive product to open today because, again, it was really panned at the time. And there's nothing in here to really chase. I also bought a box of UC3, and UC3 is almost the same exact price as well. So I figured I could do a video that will be able to kind of compare it. And I want to say there's 3 cards in the box too. So there's 3 cards in the pack, sorry. So you get a lot of packs. This is kind of like also the first time this has got to be early for them to start putting that foam insert, right? Because you guys remember the foam insert where they would use the same die lines for the boxes, and just for different sets, and sometimes they had foam in them, sometimes they didn't, based on the pack out of the product. So yeah, it's a very cheap way of not having to create new packaging specifications or new package. Just reuse the other one if there's some foam in it. It worked well. I would say they were very frugal for doing that. All right, oh my gosh, what is? I'm already horrified. All right, so here we go. The cards themselves feel like there's something on them. So I don't know if they're supposed to be like a film you're supposed to peel off of these cards. So let me, because they feel like they've got a film on them. I'm not sure what's going on here. But yeah, or if it's just throughout the years they've become like, cloudy. But yeah, like here's what they look like. and they don't have any real 3D thing going on. I'm trying to read about it here. In infinite depth perspective. I don't think infinite is the word I would use. I'm just kind of to see if there is a protector on it, because it doesn't say anything about a protector, because it looks like something's like right on the top of it. Maybe it's just how the card was designed to have this kind of, it's really weird. Don't like it at all. Super thick laminated. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about peeling them, or so maybe it's just some of those things where through the years these cards just reacted with the environment and got cloudy and ugly. But yeah, this is Travis Fryman, and they kind of all look that way. So here's Bob Hamlin, the Hammer, and then here is Robin Ventura. Yeah, they all are sticky. I mean, that's another thing too, is they all like have like some kind of weird film on them. They're sticky. I got a cloth here. I'm gonna see if I can clean them up. Maybe if you wipe them with the cloth, you can kind of get them to look like they maybe were supposed to back in the day. Because this is sort of just to like see what the cards were supposed to look like, because I just don't think they were supposed to have looked like this. If they did, then I could see why everyone hated them, because who wants to look at a card that looks like it's all cloudy and ugly? It looks like you can just kind of wipe them off, and you can get them to be a little less cloudy. So I'm working on the Ventura here, and we'll see what we can get. See if I can make the card look somewhat presentable. There we go. All right, now we can kind of see he does move around a little bit. Now that we have, see that? There's your infinite depth perspectives. There we go. There's your infinite depth perspective. So here is what we talked about before. So here's the Travis Fryman, and and he didn't do much movement. Here is the Ventura that I try to wipe off. I don't know if you can see any real difference between them, other than, so weird, really, really weird. So I can see why people didn't really enjoy this. Oh, here's the back, and that is the most 90s of backs I've ever seen. Whew, man, not good. Ugly back. Okay, at least there's 2 photos. So okay, this is now the D3s are 1 in 6 packs, so maybe the D3s look cooler than what we just found. Now, obviously, we will try to keep. Here's Brett Boone, another Robin Ventura. There's King Griffey Jr. Run off the third card in, 2nd pack. We'll see if we can clean him off a little bit, so he looks more like a card we would want to put in my collection. But this is really annoying to have to wipe every card off. And this is just a common thing, I think, with the 90s cards when they were trying all this technology out. In the food industry, we would call shelf life testing, to determine, what's going to happen to the product and over time, to make sure nothing like, unattended will happen, like, it oxidizes, gets off flavors, develops off colors, before people would consume it. So that's, what we would do on a food product. I'm not sure they did a lot of testing of card technology to determine if it would turn colors or get cloudy, or, like with Topps Chrome cards greening. Pretty sure that was not something being done. So, but here's a Griffey card, so I'm going to clean it up just because I'm going to put it in my collection. And there we go. There's Mr. Griffey, and looks a lot better than I wiped him off. And I'm trying to think like what really moves on this card for Griffey. I'm like, you kind of like the background does twist, but he doesn't like swing, or he kind of like, I guess he stands out like 3D. So this card looks, I can see where you could say, oh, that's really 3D. You can see the background moves, but he's staying still. So yeah, I can see it a little bit. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, this is, not what I would, again, this is a pretty expensive product. So I can see why people are going to like kind of underwhelmed by how 3D and cool these cards were. They're thick. I will give them that. They are thick cards. Yeah, the more you clean them up, the more I don't know why that is, but you get a little more movement on the card when you clean them up. So I'll put this in a sleeve, just so that I have it. I don't know if you can really hurt these cards. So they're very, very thick, comparatively to normal cards. Yeah, I'll throw them in a sleeve here. There you go. So that's the Griffey. So that's, obviously that's the card, we'll keep, according, and Jeter and Thomas as well, but there you go. Maybe we'll get more than one Griffey. But yeah, it's like you can just see the difference between the card once I wipe it off versus what it looks like coming out of the pack. You can really tell the difference there. And I still think I could clean that card more and it would get more clear, because I haven't sprayed it with anything or any sort of chemical to try, just water might help, to get it cleared up a little bit. So, Bobby or Andy Benez, Will Cordero, and here's our first zone. I think these cards are cool. That's one of the things I saw when I saw the photo of the zones. Oh, they actually look pretty cool. So let's kind of wipe these guys off, just so you can see what this zone card looked like. Because I think from a design perspective, this is a card that, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Like, cool design. They actually, made it look somewhat like a card that you would want to keep in your collection. So I'm like, okay, well, that insert set looks okay. I like to have the Griffey, just to have one, and obviously I could buy one on the bay without having to open a box, but it'd be cool to pull one. I've already pulled the base Griffey, and now we've got the Kenny Lofton that we're cleaning up here so we can see what the D3s look like. There we go. There we go. Now that it's all wiped off. And do we have any real depth of motion here? It looks, a little 3D. But again, I mean, yeah, I guess, you can see a little bit of that background motion. Not what I would consider to be like, again, a little underwhelming on the inserts, but there's the first insert that we've hit. And I think we should hit 4. So, just the way these cards look out of all these boxes is just crazy. There's Roger Clemens and Carlos Garcia. There's a Pirate. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to hit the zone, Griffey or Thomas. Cordero, it's another Bob Hamlin. It's the second one of those. So we hit already a couple doubles. Jim Edmonds. Roberto Alomar. Another Roger Clemens. Another Carlos Garcia. Just terrible collation. That is, just kind of funny. Jeff Montgomery. I think we got another zone. Fred McGriff. Okay, it's our second zone. So, yeah. So Fred McGriff, Kenny Lofton on the zones. So we haven't hit. I don't think we'll hit a Jeter. There's probably not a Jeter in this set, but there's definitely a Frank Thomas. So the Don Mattingly, pretty cool. Dennis Eckersley. Again, for some reason the cloudiness kind of takes away some of the effect. But, you know, we cleaned up the Griffey and kind of show you there is some effect there. But it's pretty slight. I mean, and like this photo, like how much could they, you know, like why wouldn't they have taken a photo that would have given off, like, because I mean, even if that background moves, what is in the background? Just like a blob? I mean, they didn't take a photo that would make that background moving have any real effect or any real impact. So that's another thing that was probably underwhelming, was just the photos they used were odd choices. A lot of Pirates. Orlando Merced, Garcia. Oh, there's a Barry Bonds. It's a cool card. There we go. And Jose Rio, another dime manually. So there's a Barry Bonds. So we've hit a Bonds base, a Griffey base, another Barry Bonds. So it seems like you get Jim Thome, Mike Piazza. That's cool. But it looks like you get a lot of doubles, like back-to-back doubles too. Barry Larkin, Dave Nilsson, and Lou Whitaker. Had to be towards the end of Lou Whitaker's career, I think. David Justice, Tony Gwynn. Oh, Tony Gwynn. And here is a Kirby Puckett zone. So that's our third zone. So we said we should get 4. So we've hit Puckett, McGriff, and Kenny Lofton. And a couple Barry Bonds cards there. And they're right on the back, so you can kind of see when you get one. Scott Lewis, Jim Edmonds, another Griffey. There we go. Cool. Second Griffey of this break. You gotta try to find silver linings whenever you can find them. Another Tony Gwynn, a Jim Thome, a Mike Piazza. So I think those were all doubles. Ooh. Will Clark, Brian Anderson. Not a lot of, it's kind of a worst pack I think we've opened. Jose Rijo, another Don Man. That's a third manually, another Eckersley. So far we've hit more Don manuals than anything. Interesting. Cal Eldred, remember him? I think he's wearing a green undershirt. Orlando Merced, Mike Stanley. So I'd like to hit Frank Thomas just to get the base. Ozzie Smith, Tim Salmon, Denny Martinez. Cool. We should still hit one more zone. Dykstra, Wallach, Brian Anderson again. Yeah, so I could kind of see why this was not everyone's favorite product, because the correlation on this box is terrible. There's Ivan Rodriguez. That's cool. Guy collect a little bit. And there's Brian Anderson again. Third Brian Anderson I think we've hit. Oh, I think that's the last one of the zones. Scott Lewis, Dykstra, and Frank Thomas zone. There we go. There we go. We got the Frank Thomas zone. Very cool. Wipe him off a little bit so we can enjoy the Frank Thomas zone and more of its original state than the whatever cloudy mess it is now. But yeah, I mean, these cards, again, I think if this would have been a reasonably priced product, a little more inserts, and it better, I think the technology just is a little lacking and just doesn't do a 3D effect in a way that is, I think, cool. Honestly, it's kind of almost like I don't know. I mean, it's barely what I would consider to be a 3D effect on a card. There's the Frank Thomas. That's cool. So I'll stick him over here with the Griffey. So, oops, sorry. I'm going to hit that. That's cool. We hit a couple cool cards. A couple keepers, no matter what. Albert Bell. Brett Boone. We're set in the last pack. Maybe we can get a base Frank Thomas to go with our zone, but here it is. Chuck Carr. Florida Marlins. I guess he's the guy here. Sliding, but if I was just going to say who the card was supposed to be of, it'd be this guy, who's a pirate. Not this guy sliding, but oh well. Roberto Alomar and Dennis Eckersley. So no Frank Thomas base. But we did get Frank Thomas Zone, which is pretty cool looking card, and a Griffey base. 2 Griffey bases. A couple other zone cards. Puckett, McGriff, Kenny Lofton, and some other base cards. Ivan, another Griffey, 2 Barry Bonds. So that's it, guys. That is what these cards look like. If you ever had a hankering to look at kind of a failed Topps idea, there it is, Topps D3. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. What do you think? Do you think this was something that should have been continued, or was it a one and done deserved? So let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.